All right, so let's talk about pregnancy, right? So often if we get a really pregnant woman in our class, or she's newly pregnant, or she tells us after class, it can instill a lot of fear because, to say the elephant in the room, we don't want anyone to lose a baby. We don't want anyone to get injured and something be wrong. And we don't want to be held morally responsible. And so quite often, if someone comes into a group class and they're pregnant, a lot of instructors have a tendency to be like, I don't want them in my class. What do I do? What do I do? So let's talk about pregnancy. First and foremost, you have to remember, as someone who has had 6 children and 3 miscarriages, right, is that the body does what it does. The body protects. The body can eliminate. A woman's body biologically is set up to house life, right? So, for example, I got into a horrific car accident when I was pregnant with Zoe, and they thought I was going to lose the baby, and I had to stay overnight in the hospital, and they're doing all these tests, and totally fine. She was protected, right? The placenta protected. And then the times I miscarried, who the heck knows? I wasn't over exercising or eating bad or stressed out, right? So first and foremost, as a Pilates instructor, I want you to calm down and remember that the body will do what the body does to protect the fetus. And sometimes there are things wrong with the fetus and the body eliminates, okay? So let's just relax a bit on that front. However, we want to do our due diligence as Pilates teachers not to place the woman or the fetus in stress, right? So let's talk about it. I made some notes and then I'm going to do some demos when I get into studio. So when it comes to modifications, you can use a wedge or an incline box to avoid lying flat. Now, not all studios are equipped with that. It is okay for them to be lying flat, just not too long. And I'm going to show you in the video how you can do seated footwork, okay? You want to lighten the springs so not to put too much tension, because as the womb grows, their pelvis tilt is altered from their natural pelvic alignment. We want to keep the knees a little elevated, and we can change the foot bar position lower to create space. When you're doing the 100, keep the head down. They don't need to come up into that supine flexion, right? That neck flexion. They just keep them lying down. And they could be seated, pumping their arms. And I will demo that. Feet in straps. You want to be very mindful because you don't want them to flip backwards, right? So as the circumference grows, they can get stuck up in on themselves. Avoid all overheads, no up and overs, no back 45s, and no deep range of motion. We want to limit hip extension. So with pregnant women, focus on small controlled circles for feet and straps. Long box series, I want you to avoid after the first trimester. They can do chest expansion or rowing variations. Do not get them lying down. Do not get them rolling back, right? Now, you can do sideline work. It's excellent. Throw sideline series in. You can do standing work. You can do scooter, which is contemporary, right? Avoid any planks or push-ups or pull-ups. You can do stretching and breath work, of course. So when you look at our series overall, avoid supine and lying when they're halfway through for too long. Instead, get them seated. Limit any kind of abdominal pressure. With pregnant women, we work on stability over intensity. And you want to be very mindful of the joint laxicity because due to the relaxin hormone, their joints are different when they're pregnant. Breath work. And listen, if they get dizzy, that's when you just get them into a different position or you get them to stop. Dizziness, shortness of breath. But the thing that I want to emphasize before I video the modifications is you as the instructor, you can't get it wrong per se. The body is there to protect the fetus. And also, if you are moving in Pilates repertoire, they're going to be safe. You don't have to do the razzle dazzle stuff. And never, ever, ever put a pregnant woman into standing on the carriage. You know my thoughts on standing on the carriage in general. You don't want to do it because if they fall, their center of balance is altered the bigger their womb gets, right? So don't put them in standing. So I think that's all I want to say for prenatal Pilates modifications and variations. That was footwork, the 100, arm work, long box, sideline, and standing work. Yeah. Now, you'll get this document, and also I will show you, I will video and demo. All right. Okay. I want you to see how you can do footwork on the box for a pregnant woman if you don't have a wedge. So, you put them on one less red. So I'm on a red, a blue, and a yellow. They can do footwork here. I lowered the foot bar from the high 45, it's too much cramped space, to the low 45. Hands come at the front of the box or the side of the box, they can hold on. Inhale to press, exhale, release. And they're gonna open up their knees wider because they're gonna have space. Good. If they want more resistance, you can do 2 red, a blue, drop the yellow or the white, right? Press it out to pull it in, press to pull. You can even do pulses, right? Moving on to arches. Heels. You can do the entire footwork sequence on the box. Tendon stretch, lower, 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 lift, bend to close. Doing it on the box is very helpful. The other thing is you can do sideline series and you can place a ball underneath if they want to be propped up. Sideline series is fine for a pregnant woman. So if I was going to sideline it, I would drop the spring load by 1, so I'm offloading my. So you can also do sideline series, right? Ball. I'm gonna move you guys out a bit so you can see. The ball would go underneath. It's fine for them to lie on their side. They can hold the shoulder block, and now you're in your sideline series. You drop this spring load, and now they're propped up, and they're working, right? You can do the entire sideline series. It's absolutely no problem. Ball for stabilization, box for footwork. You could also do footwork with the ball between the shoulder blocks if you don't have a wedge, and they can work from here. Right? So those are just modifiers in footwork because they'll be lying down. The 100, they just don't take their head off the headrest. You guys don't need me to demo that, right? You always want to have stabilization because you want them to work towards keeping everything secure, right? You want to keep everything secure because of the relaxin hormone. Their joints are all loosey-goosey, preparing to like open up and expand for childbirth. So it's nothing to fear having a pregnant woman in your class. It's beautiful. You keep them safe, you keep them secure, you give them a great movement experience. Pregnant women love feet and straps. It feels so good for them, right? And what a blessing to have someone who's pregnant in class. It's such a fun thing to be part of because then clients will actually birth their babies and bring them back. And it's adorable and it's cute and it builds community. Nothing to be fearful of. If you have any questions, you can always just send me an email or a text. Like if you're like, I know a pregnant woman is coming, or I have a private one-on-one with a pregnant woman, et cetera, et cetera. We have to be careful with sciatica. A lot of women have the pain right down the back of the legs, the pinching, pinching, pinching. It's a lot. It's a lot weight bearing. But again, we discuss this all in depth in our manual, in special populations as well, or intro to special populations. This just give you a little taste so that you start to feel really secure when you've got someone in class who's with child. All right, love you guys. Check it out, do your research, read up on the things you're curious about. That's all.